Well, it is a completely different weather day than yesterday, which was almost 50 degrees. And today, I think it's 22 right now, and it's going to be cold for the rest of the weekend. It is Friday. I'm walking the open flag out to the road. Normally, we just leave it up. And at some point, probably a week ago, we took it down because we were gone. Which we do, but because there was snow on the ground, we put it inside the house and forgot about it. Until someone yesterday said, we stopped by on the off chance you'd be open, but we didn't see the flag. And that's when we realized it was not up. Because it usually doesn't matter that it's up. People still don't come. Or they call, or there's no actual correlation. Now the real question is, where is the stand that it goes in? I'm looking all over the ground here and I don't see it. Damn it. Huh. There should be a little pin thingy here on the ground this slides into, and it ain't here. That's great. Always something. All right, I don't think I can put this up. I wonder if I covered it with snow. Nah, it should be right in here somewhere. Yeah, well, without that stand, this isn't staying up. All right. I tried.
That's next time on The World.
Well, I have let the cows out into the field so I can clean the barn because it is absolutely disgusting after a week of not getting it clean. And they're racing around out there in the wind, not eating the bale that's out there for them. I'm just glad there's no ice out there right now because they would be breaking their necks the way they're going at the day. Really don't know what they're... Oh! Just broke my standpipe. One of the tracks of the skid steer is frozen. It's stiff. It's not responding quite correctly. I figured if I used it a little, it would free up a bit. It just caused me to lurch to the right. And I just broke my downspout standpipe. Yeah, right there. Sheared right off. That was unfortunate. Yeah! Oh, I'm not having a good day so far. Yeah, that's trash. Damn it. I gotta pick up all that before the... Oh, I'm in rabbit mode. No wonder I'm lurching around. I am trying really hard to scrape up a lot of frozen manure. And, unfortunately, I'm getting a lot of stone. This isn't going to be fun. Everything's pretty frozen. We've had... the cows have sort of settled down. We had a half a week of nice, warm, sunny temperatures above freezing. Some days in the upper 40s. It was like spring. It was March in January. It's never a good thing. And now it's 8 degrees with a wind chill out. And things are pretty frozen. And the barn is a disgusting mess because the warm weather caused a lot of ice And I couldn't get the cows out of the barn to clean it when I would have been efficacious. And so yeah, I'm doing it now. There's a lot less ice out there than there was. This isn't easy. I can't explain to you the difficulties I am having. Yeah, the ground's frozen and skid steer doesn't like traveling over it. The manure's frozen in places. But also there's manure where there shouldn't be. I really need to work towards getting this all concreted, because it's no fun trying to make this safe and clean and not any kind of a disgusting mess. Well, I've got the barn as clean as I can get it in its current form. It's a mess. I'm gonna have to pour a slab here and just be able to push sloppy manure, the slurry, out and over, because that was like emptying the ocean with a teaspoon. I had to do very small buckets. Where's this paper coming from? A bunch of paper floating in the manure all of a sudden. Yeah, so that was unenjoyable. It's so cold that stupid drip valve, I think that one's broken. It should just be dripping out of there. It should not be, but it seems the colder it gets, the more it turns to an open stream like that. And it's wasting a lot of water. It is keeping the cows drink at that trough all day long, so it's keeping it unfrozen, even in this bitter cold wind. But yeah, I managed to get the majority of the barn clean. I've left a little bit, it's inevitable with the skid steer tracks, leave the floor kind of cloddy with liquidy clot manure, but that's going to freeze and actually provide traction, because if this was scraped down, it'd be like glass when the cows come back. I'm going to throw that hay around to bed them. Yeah, something's got to be done. A rubber squeegee would really help instead of a bucket, and then just being able to push it right out and over there, which means I have to concrete this ramp area. I think that's going to have to happen. When we originally had built this barn and considered the whole dairying idea here, we were a grass-based dairy. We fed dry hay, and our cows outwintered the majority of the winter. And so this was really just built as a covered loafing shed for them to come in out of the weather and stand here on a hard surface in the fall and the mud seasons. And this area here was supposed to be manure storage. And the cows, spent most of their time outside. That's how it was when we first moved here and first got going. But our winters changed, and they weren't freezing deep, and the ground never freezes. Well, the last couple of years it has, but previous to that, the ground wasn't freezing very well. Or we have these periods of deep thaw in the winter, and everything turns to mud. And so we were having a real hard time with the cows not walking through knee-deep mud and churning everything to mud. So we decided to turn this into a compost bedded pack barn, developing a tall, deep pack layer that's warm. And we bed it every day, and then once or twice, depending on the weather and how it's responding and how it's composting, I'll scoop that all out and replace everything. This year, I'm keeping it to the back half of the barn and leaving this front half trying to force the cows to lay just in one area. Because before I used to use a lot more material and bed the whole barn down. and then have to clean the whole barn down. And that led to its own set of issues, and a lot of sawdust wood chip bedding material wasted, in this section where they're not necessarily bedding down. So I've kind of split things. Ideally, in this area, I'd like to put stanchions, not stanchions, free stalls. I guess they're called stanchions, so that they're even less bedding gets used. And it's not a compost bedded pack barn. The cows, I think, would be a lot cleaner and happier in this barn. And then when we build the new barn, that will also be free stalls. Yeah, so the slurry, this liquid manure from feeding more grain than we had originally thought we were going to, and feeding more silage than we didn't imagine silage before. We were strictly dry hay. We're getting much better milk results, much better milk yields, healthier cows, so not a complaint anyway there. And the silage is far easier to deal with our weird, wacky summers. But it does make for a richer, more liquid diet, liquid manure. So we have to adapt. And we're still trying to find our way through that adaptation process. In case you're wondering why I got a hatchet with me, it's because the cores of the bales are so tight that I got to whack into them with a hatchet to break them open so I can spread this is some of those marsh grass bales. It actually makes pretty. So I am washing the tracks of the skid steers off. It's been a bear. By the time I got a hose nozzle and a hose that would work, the manure started freezing up on everything. Just in the 10 minutes it took me to get the hose rolled out and a nozzle. And then the nozzle I was using broke. And I went to find the parts to swap it out and fix it, and I couldn't find those. So I had to go find a broken nozzle and repair that. I don't know where any other good nozzles are. And by now, all the manure that I was trying to hose off that was still gooey and liquid is now ice, because the wind is vicious. I am frozen. My hands are frozen. It's got to be, I think the high was supposed to be 22 today without the wind. I don't think it's made 18 yet, maybe 16. And there's a wind chill that's probably, because it's pretty stiff wind, it's got to be about 10 degrees. And nothing works well at 10 degrees Fahrenheit. So I'm just going to do the best I can. I'm going to wash out what I can, and then I'm going to drive up a little ways. It usually loosens some stuff. The hose froze to the ground where it's leaking. Well, as I suspected, snowing by the way. As I suspected, when I parked up the skid steer last night and was washing off the tracks, they froze solid. It has taken me 20 gallons of hot water to loosen the mud and slurry and stuff that have fallen down in and locked it. It doesn't take much to lock these big sprockets. A bit of frozen manure certainly does the trick. Yeah, it's 24 degrees out right now, and actually vastly warmer than it was or felt yesterday, which is why I couldn't have done this thawing trick with hot water yesterday. I would have frozen immediately with the wind. It was so cold. At least I got to move because I have to deliver another bale of cows, and the skid steer was locked right in the way. Just gonna get the front calves. They're boiling water and grain. I give them warm water out of the hot water tap when it's this cold, because otherwise it's just they don't like drinking cold water. They don't like drinking hot water. But by the time this gets there, it's warm, and that means they'll drink it all up, and I won't end up with water troughs full of ice. Come on. Well, it's Sunday morning. I don't know what date it is. 18th. No, yeah, something like that. Anyway, we had snow, 8 inches. Yesterday, all day. We were having a party yesterday. We were going to throw for ourselves our typical wassail, and we had to cancel it. The snow had abated by about the time the party was going to start, but the prediction was for heavier snow in the evening, and the fact that it was going to warm up and rain, and we did get a bunch of sleet and icy rain. So, yeah, we thought we would better just cancel it. Most people were only coming from a few miles away, but when we did finally hear back from them, say, oh, thank God you did postpone it, because the weather's bad and the roads are bad. Anyway, yeah, so first thing I got to do today is plow. Yes, another day, another 4 inches of snow. We haven't had winters like this in a while, where we've had weeks of back-to-back snowstorms. But also this week, which is today, the 19th of January, Monday. This week, we're going to see single-digit temperatures again. Not looking forward to that, especially when I'm still trying to get the boiler system going. Haven't worked on the boiler at all for 2 days, which has been nice, but not ideal. And so, yeah, it's time I get that thing wrapped up, especially as winter seems to be settling in for another month at least. I would imagine we're not going to see spring until late this year. All right, finish walking the dogs, get going with things. Almost got the bulk of the driveway done. The only reason I'm doing it now is we're expecting traffic today. It's Monday, so there'll be the inevitable, it snowed, so I'm going to show up and having never been there before customer, which is great, awesome. I love intrepid customers, don't get me wrong. And then there'll be plow it, but they've just upped the forecast. It's going to continue snowing more today, and we're going to have probably as much snow by the end of the day as I'm plowing right now. So I'll have to come out and do this again tonight, maybe. Now let me be clear about one thing. I don't hate snow. Up until the age of, in my 20s anyway, I was an avid skier. And I still enjoy cross-country skiing. And dang it, this is the perfect powder for any number of winter-related fun. However, livestock and taking care of livestock, making sure everybody is fed and watered and warm and safe, kind of messes with the winter vibe. So the endless snow does wear on me because of that. Well, I'm working away down here in the boiler room, and I've lost the plot. I've just gotten so fey, totally zoned out. I've had my momentum broken a couple times because the calves got out. The snow, I forgot to clear the snow off the solar panels from, previous storm. And I guess it built up, and with the snow overnight, last night, yesterday, power on the solar fence went down. So the calves are constantly testing the fence. I don't know why. They're got plenty of room, plenty of food. They just want to be where they're not supposed to be. So anyway, fixed all that. Came back down. I've made minor progress today. I haven't worked on this for 2 days. Just felt the need to Well, Saturday we were supposed to have a party. Couldn't happen because of the weather. By the time we figured that we'd have to cancel it, it was midway through the day, and so we took on some other things. And then yesterday, we just decided to have a day off because we need it. Because we're exhausted, because we're physically and mentally stressed, because that's what farming does to you. And in winter, and the snow, and the endless repetition of everything. So anyway, took a mental health day, feel great, came back down here today, and what did I get done? I connected the output, the cold water return on both water heaters. That's done. I know I'd started one, but it wasn't, I had to abandon it. It needed help. Got that done. I got the vent situation fixed for the top of this tank. I put in the rest of 3 of the, no, I guess I'd already done 1. So I put in the other 2 temperature thermal wells. And then I've made up a rig there, that red PEX line, to put a pressure test gauge and air chuck on there so I can pressure test this. I am that close to being able to pressure test. I just need to run the overhead PEX safety line. And I realized I'm short 2 PEX fittings, which I think I may have on a piece of used PEX up in the barn. So if I can find that, then tomorrow I can put that line up. And then I could test the pressure, I could pressure test. What else did I do today? I salvaged some PEX fittings, 1-inch PEX fittings that I needed to put together this pump assembly. I put together the other air scoop, the smaller air scoop that goes up in the barn at the peak of the barn heating line to bleed any air out of that line that could get trapped when this pump isn't running. So I put all that piping together and got that set and brought that up to the barn. And then I made, what did I do? Cleaned up a little bit. I made some progress cleaning up a bit. And then I made this pump assembly. Now I was going to try and put it on this electrical, oh, what the hell do they call this? Anyway, it's for putting up conduit and piping and stuff. I was going to put a second one over here and mount the pump in between. Except I got the wrong, remember I ordered the wrong kind of pump flange. So the flange is turned perpendicular to the pump rather than, well, anyway, not parallel. It's turned 90 degrees the wrong way. It doesn't matter on these 2 pumps. It didn't really matter on the pump that's on the floor, but this one it does because the way the flanges stick out interfere with the wall. So I got to bump that out another 4 inches and figure out how to mount that pump on the wall. The other problem is, it'll bug me forever, is in order to mount it this way horizontally, I have to leave the pump this way with the control panel 90 degrees to horizontal. That'll be annoying. But it doesn't affect how it's used. Just an aesthetic thing, and that's only because I ordered the wrong. I got confused about the orientation of the pump flanges. I didn't really know it was a thing. So I gotta find a way of mounting that. Once I can mount this pump on the wall, then I can connect the PEX line from here to the inlet of the pump handle here, and I can connect this outlet pipe going up to the barn, and I can get the return line set back here to where it returns down there between the tanks. And that is everything down here connected then, other than I do have to connect the fresh water once these solder joints are made, but I'm leaving them now until after I pressure test everything in case I got to come in here and tear stuff apart. So then that just leaves the fresh water lines to connect, inlet, connect to the bottom of the tank down there, and then the hot water going up to the barn coming out of the top. Now I may not run, I'm really debating because the temperatures now, today it was, I think it got as high as 30. No. Yeah, it may have gotten up to 30 today. We're going to be in single digits starting tomorrow night, going forward for a few days, several days actually, almost a week of bitter cold weather. And that's right about the time I need to be filling this system with water. So I'm pretty sure I can get water in here. I'm pretty sure I can get this place warm enough. Oh, I also got to run the 2 control boxes for this, but that doesn't have to do with water or pressure testing. I can be doing that while these are filling. And because also I can fill this with water, but I don't actually need to run these initially. But I do, so the pumps don't actually have to be connected. They can just be full of cold water or warm water. I don't actually have to cycle the pumps to the controllers to get hot water going out. But I do have to fill everything with water. I do have to fill the cold, the heat coil inside with water before I fill the tank up with water before I heat anything. It just keeps everything pressurized and equalized and doesn't burn out anything. Doesn't cause any issues. But I don't really want to send water up out of here until I'm sending hot water up out of here. So that's going to be, I mean, I can get this pump running and it will circulate cold water, then it won't freeze overnight if I get into a situation where I have got everything full and I don't have the boiler going. But also, I could isolate this and just get the boiler going. But I do also, that causes a problem because I have to bleed the air out of everything. And if I don't get the air bled out correctly, and I've got hot water going through the system, then I've got to try and bleed air out of a system full of scalding water, and that's not fun. I've done it before to get it going. So I really want to have all the air bled out prior to firing the boiler. That is going to cause some problems. I know I can keep this 1-inch PEX from freezing by running this pump when it's connected and purge the air out of it, but I don't want to get water sent up to the taps above from these water heaters until once this PEX is hot, then there'll be a trunk going out and they'll all be bundled together, and I've got to still have to do that outside it, but I kind of wanted things a little warm and more flexible than they are now. Once the PEX is heated going up to the barn, then these hot water lines going up there, even though there's no hot water flowing through them, will be heated by that PEX in the trunk line going on up to the barn. And so, yeah, I may just put a stub on here. This goes there. I may just put a short PEX stub out to put in, temporary, to put into a bucket or something, just to run some water through here and into those. And I'll also set both these boilers at the lowest, water heaters rather, at the lowest temperature while I'm flushing water in here. So I still have to figure that out. I still need to clean up. I got to move this stuff. I got to get everything off the top of the boiler, get that ready to fire. I'm still, I don't know. I don't think I'm going to be able to do this week, fire it this week. I hope so. It's Monday today. Theoretically, I'm close enough that I could be able to. It's just finding all the time that I need to do the last little bits and pieces. I should be able to test the black pipe tomorrow if I can get this PEX line run. And I could actually take out the fitting and put a plug in and test the PEX. Oh, I also have to, there's purposely no shutoff on this safety loop so that a valve doesn't accidentally get closed and have, not have it operate as it's supposed to. So I don't have any valves, so I have to either take this out and plug it and take out the lower one and plug it, or I've got it's easier just at this point to run the PEX. And then it's done. So I have to do that, and then I should be able to test things. I'm rambling, I'm tired. I've been out here for 4 hours, just double checking stuff, looking through things, figuring out where I need to go, what I need to do, putting together all the stuff, taking some stuff apart to salvage the parts. Yeah, it's we're getting closer. And then I've got, once this is pressure tested, then I get someone to come down and do the soldering. And I gotta get this PEX connected. So yeah, it's slow going. I'm dying to fire this thing up, but I'm also nervous as hell filling these tanks up with water. Oh, yeah, that's the other thing. I gotta plug the water after that soldering happens. So yeah, pressure testing really is the push to get this pressure tested. Make sure these fittings are all good is really the next thing to do. I can pressure test all the black iron pipe in here. I don't need to worry about the PEX, pressure testing the PEX. It's that's easy to deal with. If there's a leak in the PEX, I can just re-crimp it and fix it. If there's a problem in any of this black iron, it's a much bigger task to correct. And so that's why I gotta be diligent about that, getting that checked. Now, unfortunately, I have, well, no, not unfortunately, there are 3 pressure relief valves set for 30 PSI to blow off in case the boiler overheats. So I will only be able to, without, I could take those out and plug those gaps again, and I could test this to a much higher pressure. But the system really only wants to run between 12 and 20 PSI, so 30 should be good to test everything at, because it should never get above 30, because those pressure relief valves will blow off. So I'm thinking I will test it right up to 30, let those blow off, come back down a bit, maybe 25, 30, 29 PSI. Test it at that just before those blow off, and then leave it set and hope that it holds, and put soapy water to see if there's any bubbles coming around. That's the best I can do. I'm going to call it quits right now. I gotta go out and feed cows and get ready to do evening chores. And it's closer to 5 now, so it's time to stop on this project.